Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. Didn't expect to be doing one, but I kind of have to fit the timing. This video could become very irrelevant the longer I sit on it. So we'll be going over my first season of anime and what I'm watching. I'm technically considering this my first season, even though I've watched something in the spring and the winter when it was coming out. It was really just one show, and I was doing that for the sake of someone else. And I am watching a few shows for the sake of other people, but I also, went out of my way to watch some things myself, to expand my horizons, watch more types of shows, and I'm watching 4, which is, a big leap now that I am technically trying to get into the anime scene. Alright, I think that's all the things I really have to talk about, and we'll go through this list of the 4 shows from what I think is the best so far and what is the worst so far. So, let's get right into it. So, I definitely have to say the best so far is The God of High School. But The God of High School is honestly pretty solid. It's not exactly what you expect from the title itself, and no, I am not a webtoon watcher. I don't do webtoons exactly. I like to have all my manga pretty physical, so reading stuff off the internet, not really my thing. I'm weird like that, but I don't have any knowledge of the start, just like with Tower of God, which was the show I watched for spring. Tower of God did betray me, so I'm like, alright, I'll watch this show. It's only 13 episodes. I have currently watched 2, which would be up to date as of the date of recording, and honestly, it seems pretty solid. The animation looks good. Some of the character build-up, done pretty well. Generally, zero complaints. It isn't super enthralling. I'm not amazingly pushed into this world and I'm like, wow, I'm so entertained. But again, it's a show that hasn't wronged me at any point where I'm like, okay, that's kind of dumb or stupid. So I have to give it credit there. It's done well so far, but it isn't exactly, I say, something that would always be up my alley, so I'm not enjoying it as much as maybe others are. I still think this is very good if you are considering something to watch this season. If you're not doing any season 2s, I would suggest watching God of High School. It seems like a solid action that will be better if you watch weekly compared to a binge, because I don't know if the binge will be really good unless you're someone who actually read the webtoon and stuff and are going there. Then it's going to probably be good to binge because you're already invested. But if you're someone who doesn't know anything about it, I would suggest to watch it weekly, because for the 20 minutes, it's a nice, easy investment every week. And the time does go by, and it feels pretty fast in a good way. You will enjoy yourself watching the episode. It doesn't feel like it drags on. So yeah, all good stuff from The God of High School. It's not the most special thing ever, but it's pretty solid nonetheless. Alright, so the second one, I'm surprised it made it this far. Again, the season's not that great, in my opinion. Again, unless you're watching stuff that, has second seasons, because then there's stuff like, I know Fire Force and Fate is popular and stuff, so people who are invested in that series are going to enjoy the second season, and the season looks a lot better. But, remove some of those second season stuff, and this season seems pretty dull. To the point where our number 2 is Uzami-Chan Wants to Hang Out. I'm pretty sure I got the title right. And, I just felt like watching this show for science. Well, I guess there's more reasons. First, I felt like doing this video, and, I was watching 3, I'm like, maybe the video will be too short, maybe I'll see if I can pick up something. And then there's all the memes of this show, and it's like, alright, maybe we need to see what these memes are about. And also, clickbait. Clickbait is great. I love using it for thumbnails, putting big titty girl in thumbnails. That's just a positive, so you know, we're already sold at that point, you know. And apparently, from what's popular on my channel, the more degenerate thy show, the more thy channel shall grow. So we will be talking about all of the degenerate shows, and I'm going to give it props. It wasn't that horrible. You know, the humor generally falls pretty flat for me, which I'm honestly surprised it did get one genuine laugh out of me, and one aspect of the show that I really like for a stupid reason, but a reason's a reason. So I liked something out of it. For, you know, it's 2 episodes. As of currently, I'm caught up. And for the 20-minute episodes, you know, they didn't drag out too long, you know. I sat there. I was pretty content. I'm like, okay, this is not horrible. I'm not hating myself for watching this. And, you know, I thought the main character would be a bit annoying after, you know, seeing that at the start. But honestly, it seems fine for me. The character isn't that annoying. Again, the romance doesn't seem that realistic. I don't think people care that much. But for someone who tries to generally enjoy a show, not for the degenerate stuff, you know, I could wish a few more things out of this, but surprisingly, it is not bad. Again, the show is generally just a bunch of boob jokes. Character has huge boobs. Hilarity ensues. Alright, that's pretty much how they pitched it.
Stopping the toughest leaks while remaining virtually invisible.
I mean, I don't know, this is pretty cool and all.
Plus, it even works underwater.
I'll take your entire stock!
And, you know, if that pitch, you know, if that's like, oh, damn, yeah, get me on that. This show's for you. This show is perfectly for you. You know, for something that I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be trash taste, I think my bar was a little bit low. So I honestly didn't think it was too horrible. And the one great aspect, which I left for last, is that freaking cat. that cat is probably one of the most ironic, hilarious things ever. That cat has seen some shit. That's me, right? This cat is me if I actually saw someone in real life with that unrealistic of boobs, you know? That cat, I'm telling you, I want to meet him. He probably has some cool-ass Nom story to tell, because have you seen his eyes? Yeah, that cat had boosted the show a little bit up, but again, the competition from here on out sucks ass. Alright, so my third one is Gigabyte, and I did watch this one kind of because, as I said before, I'm watching it for someone else, because my friend Miasma, he's another content creator. I've already talked about him enough on this channel, so go check him out if you want. If you really don't care every time I say it, don't check him out, I guess. Whatever, he'll be in the comments or something. From this recording date, it released its first episode like 2 days ago, and that's a bit long, so it only has 1 episode out. You can just watch something else. There's a better way to spend your time than to watch this show. It seems very bland, you know, it's a very basic plot. There seems to be nothing special about it. I'm just saying basic plots can still be very good and executed very well with certain things added to them, but no, this show's doesn't seem like it's going to do that. You know, it follows the plot. There's not really too much interest put into it. I feel like just with very professional directors on, you could kind of make this good, even with its basic plot, but it's like, they're kind of like, let's just make this, and, you know, it feels like a, let's just watch this, I have time, type of show. I think probably worst aspect, a real thumbs down for the show, is the CG monsters. Oh god, they look so ugly. Again, whatever your thoughts on CG, whatever. But, you know, CG, you can do certain aspects better within that compared to real animation. And sure, there's, you know, a bit more detail than what you could probably do with regular animation, but they make it look muddy as hell, and they pretty much over darken the figure, and, you know, make it so you can't see the details because they probably, you know, don't have it that good looking at certain parts of it, so they just made it dark, but then the rest of the characters are pretty lit. You know, lighting criticisms, you know, just do lighting correct if you're going the CG route. And then, you know, there's some hand-drawn stuff, of course. Most of the characters themselves are hand-drawn, so, like, the combat doesn't look that great either, because you're putting these CG and then regular drawings, and they're, like, barely connecting. It's like they have two teams just doing the things, and then they have the editors, like, just put the models close to each other, you know? It's not impressive what they're doing at all. So I would suggest go watch something else. But it isn't the worst thing ever, you know? It didn't drag out. I didn't hate myself for watching it. Which, you know, you could hate yourself for watching shows. So, you know, this really isn't that bad in the scheme of things. It's just so meh. That's the best way of describing it. At least with Big Booby Girl Show, you have that frickin' cat, which is probably, you know, needs to be framed on a wall for how unironically beautiful that thing is, compared to this where it's like, oh, it feels like they may be trying, but it just sucks. And that last show, and you may be like, alright, so you have the biggest meh show ever. What's worse than that? It has to be bad. I have to make a rant or something now. And yes, I haven't ranted on any show yet. Surprisingly, I've decided not to. But, you know, now I'm going to complain about something for the first time on this channel. And that is Deca-Dence. And this, again, my friend is doing weekly reviews of the episodes, so they're kind of just looked at it and like, you know what, let's gamble, let's watch this. So I will put some links so you can check it out if you want. Of course, since I want to watch his content, I'm like, all right, I'll watch the show with him. I can follow along. 20 minutes ain't going to be that bad. It's a painful 20 minutes. Not for the first episode. I think the first episode is perfectly fine, because it seems what is sold to you in the thing. When you look at the plot synopsis, you're like, okay, this is what it's going to be about. And the first episode, it puts a good amount of interest into the main character. Honestly, that main character, pretty interesting, you know, right? I'm willing to follow it. Probably one of the better built characters within all the shows, surprisingly, on this list. But then there's the second episode, and okay, so it's controversial if you like it or not. It's really up to you. I hated it. I freaking hated it. Where people, my friends who are reviewing it, they're somewhat interested. They're like, okay, that's a weird route. Time to do it. They called the move ballsy in their like review, and yes, I do agree with that. But what it comes off as is none of this was in the synopsis of the thing. I feel clickbaited. I feel like, you know, because you would feel, you know, kind of mad if, you know, I put the Big Booby Girl from this season and then just not talked about the show, right? You know, you'd be like, hey, what the hell, man? I thought you were going to talk about, you know, a degenerate show. That's what I watch you for, because for some reason people watch me for that Data Live review. Am I right? But I'm self-advertising a lot. You know, I freely make content here. I do it for fun. If you wanted a serious, well-developed video, you're not getting that here. I'm wasting your time. Alright, back to it. It really did clickbait you. So pretty much, I guess it's kind of a spoiler. Doesn't really matter because it's going to be a probably long show. A longer show, maybe in the 20-ish episode range. And they're pretty much, okay, It's a game world. I don't want to talk too much about the world. Again, that's not really the point of it. Point is it, well, did it keep me interested? No. I was not interested once this game thing came up. I'm like, I don't care that, like, the world was not super complex, but complex enough that I just kind of want to see details pad out within the story. But then it's like, all right, here's this new element, which will have a lot more complexities to it. And then it's also a game world, which I really don't care for game world plots overall. I guess it's sad to say, but, you know, I just think in storytelling, it's not my cup of tea, I would say. So it didn't feel advertised to me, so it came out of the blue. It's something I generally did not like, and it wasn't able to keep my interest. And worst of all though, those facts is, Jesus Christ, it looked but ugly. I'm not trying to criticize the animators because, you know, they're animating the rest of the show, so, you know, they do the rest of the show, and that looks great, like when you're not in the game world. But the game world feels like, oh, yeah, you can kind of, like, cheat in animating. You don't actually have to work that hard. You just draw some circles and squares and you're done, alright? Color them a little bit, yeah, you're done. Like, legit, it's stuff that I can make, and I'm not a talented person. And, you know, with that, I'm already not interested in what's happening, and then I'm not even visually interested, and overall, it just dragged out for me, and what felt like what should be like a 20-minute episode feels like an hour-long episode of me just not giving a frickin' hoot about anything that is happening. That's just something I have to say. Again, I can actually have a little bit more interest in the show if they really take away this game world. I'm not saying they're going to remove it and eliminate it from the storytelling, because it's generally unrealistic. But if they don't spend that much time there, if it's like maybe a minute or two every episode where they do a little bit of exposition, I could come back to enjoy the show a bit more. But if it was like in the episode 2 where it's like kind of like 50-50, that 50% in that game world is just such a bore to me that, you know, it doesn't help me wanting to watch that other half of it. And overall, I really did not like that experience. Of course, I'm going to try and watch it through the end. If it's really that painful of a watch, I will drop it. But it was a way more of a disappointing because I did have a higher bar on it. It was not like something like, you know, Uzami-Chan's show where the bar was low and, you know, I was at that bar. The bar was somewhat there, and now it went under the bar pretty far. Alright, but that's all the stuff I've been watching this anime season. Of course, if you want to see reviews of some of these shows, go, you know, tell me in the comments. Again, go to the comments. I like interaction. Thank you. You know, if you're watching this, give your opinions on the shows. If you feel like watching them, tell me you're going to watch them, you know, or tell me your thoughts on them, just stuff like that. Thank you guys for watching and supporting. I'm still pretty small, but, you know, I've got a lot of support for such a new channel, and I'm very appreciative of that. So thank you for watching. Hope you liked and enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.